Well, Zoom says we're being recorded, so I'll go with it. Welcome to another episode of the Air Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Michael. As always, listen to us on the Unhinged Sports Network every Thursday, 6 Eastern. Currently, you're listening to me on the Sports Network right now. But in the meantime, this is a great way to start the weekend. I got two wonderful ladies. Um, excuse me, it's been a rushing day, but nonetheless, I got Whitney and Michelle from the Girls Toss 2 Cornhole podcast. Ladies, welcome to the show.
I wish we were named Girls Toss too, but it's
I
actually
kind of
girls.
like that. I like that better. It's actually girls throw too.
But I actually wish we were Girls Toss too.
A buddy of mine was just texting me. He said, "What's their podcast so I can listen to it?" I said, "I think it's throw, but I think it's toss. They do both." So there you have it.
Toss can be interpreted so many ways, right? Like
Girls Toss 2 could go.
It could go a totally different direction.
Exactly.
Keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean. Anyway, yes, we are Girls Throw 2, girlsthrow2.com. I am Whitney. This is my co-founder and better half, Michelle. She's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. And
representing
East Side.
West Side.
It's an inside joke, you guys.
Yeah, we talk hip hop a lot, you know.
Nice.
So anyway, we started out as just girls whose husbands really love the sport. They love to play cornhole. Anybody who's played before realizes that this sport is very freakishly addicting, and there is no moderation once you catch that cornhole bug. So Michelle and I, independently, without knowing each other, quickly learned we got to get to trying this, because otherwise we're going to lead separate lives, that from our husbands that are not fun. We'll be left behind while he's going to league night. Yep. So we both started playing. Michelle a little more confidently on her own. She's probably the better player. If you listen to our podcast, you'll probably quickly pick that up. I am like a consumer of knowledge, and when I feel uncomfortable, I try to digest as much information as possible. I went to the web to try to find information for beginners in cornhole, females early on in cornhole. Nothing was out there. It's a niche market right now because ESPN throughout the pandemic had no broadcast coverage with other sports because no other sports were being played. So cornhole got full, headline views, and that has made it the #1 growing sport in the country.
Wow.
Given that there was nothing out there for women or beginners, we jumped on it. I started a team, quickly met Michelle as one of my teammates, and quickly she stuck out as somebody who I needed in a higher level position than just, one of the teammates, because everything I'm terrible at, she's great at.
Yeah, I try.
She does better than try. She's humble.
So for people that don't know much about cornhole, course here in Oklahoma City, we talk more football really than anything else, but I did play some cornhole a few weeks back during a Top Golf event that we got the privilege to go to. But course scoring system, that if there is a scoring system, how does the scoring system work? How do you declare the winner from the loser? And exactly the question that a buddy of mine wanted me to ask you was how did cornhole came about? Like, how in the world did it got invented, so to speak?
Well, we can't speak to the invention part of it because I haven't even researched it that far back. We can tell you how it got its name, but I'm going to punt it to Michelle, because Michelle, I think you should explain cancellation scoring.
Yeah, and it got its name because the bags have corn in it, but the bags that we play with, and anybody who's more serious, they would never play with a bag with corn in it. So the whole bag game is a whole nother world that you will enter once you start playing more competitively or just care more about your throw.
It has evolved over time, what you say.
Yeah, it has. It totally evolved. So in terms of the scoring, it's a cancellation system. So basically your points and your opponent's points would cancel out one another, and whatever's left over is what the score would be. So if you get, 4 bags on the board and I get 3 bags on the board, you would get 1 point. And so when it gets in the hole, that's 3 points. If it gets on the board, it's 1 point. So you cancel out to get to the score. 21 points wins the game. And usually, like in the league that I run, we don't go over 21. So when you hit 21, the game's over. You submit the score 21 points and you move on to the next game.
Does anybody play the bust anymore? Like the bust rule so there's a bust rule. Some people play backyard style. If you don't get exactly to 21, you have to revert back to like
we never played that way
backwards
because competitively, like the ACL pros, the ACO pros, like the pro level, that's not the case. And we try to be as legit as possible.
Right.
I just don't like the rule, whether it's legit or not.
We used to play skunk. Did you ever play skunk, Whitney?
No, how do you play that?
Okay, so we don't do it anymore, but when we first started playing, if you got to 11 points and the other team had 0, then the game's over, you win.
Oh, it's like a mercy rule.
Yeah, it's like a skunk rule. But that doesn't make any sense because I've been down 11-0 and I've still come back.
Yeah. Screw you for your skunk rule.
Yeah, get out of here, skunk rule. We don't need you.
Exactly. But yes, 100% it's cancellation, scoring 3 in the hole, 1 on the board. So now it's time to test you, Mike. If I had 2 in the hole and she had 2 on the board and the rest were alongside on the concrete, who has what score and what is the total number anybody gets to add?
Math time.
So I have 2 in the hole. Do you like how I gave myself 2 in the hole, by the way?
Yeah, of course you did. Why wouldn't you?
Okay, so
he doesn't play, so you probably would get 2 in the hole, and Mike might get 2 on the board, right?
Okay, so I have 2 in the hole. You have 2 on the board. All the rest are on concrete. What did I end up with? What did you end up with? And what's the score we add to the tower? You weren't listening.
I have no idea. I'm just going to wing it. I would say 4-2.
So Whitney had 6 points because she got 2 in the hole, so 3 each. You had 2 points because you had 2 in the board. So it would be 6 minus 2. So Whitney gets 4 points.
I walk away with 4. So you were close. I mean, you definitely had the right numbers in there in your guess, right?
And by the way, people who play all the time get tripped up on
this
math
wrong.
all the time.
My own damn husband.
Like you gotta watch, like you're on your side of the board and you just threw and you're like, okay, I got, like, let's just say you got 2 in the hole and the other person got 2 in the board and you're like, cool, that's 4. And then they're like, from the other end, they're like, all right, that's 2. And you're like, what? Huh? No.
Yeah. And then it's the most awkward thing in the world too. When you know they're wrong.
Yeah. But like, you're looking at it. What are you talking about?
We're opening up a whole nother can of worms. It's like,
but don't feel bad. The scoring can be tricky for people. It happens.
You're giving us so many content ideas to use on our own podcast right now, Mike.
Sure.
Hey, it's just one of those days. I think I give, a lot of. No, I'm kidding. No, it's I like to give the help. Kind of get the people name out there and all that good stuff. And it kind of in regards to cornhole. Is there a special technique? I know I listened to one of your ladies' podcast when I was
just one.
Good Lord.
One?
Mike, you have so much catching up to do, dude.
It's unacceptable.
Hey, I got the rest of the weekend to catch up on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll quiz you again on Monday. You better be binging.
Yeah.
I got you.
Practice your elementary math skills.
I just need you to listen and download. That's all I care about.
2 different goals. That's true.
No, the math skills, I definitely need to work on those. My boss even said that earlier. We were doing something stupid and I was way off in left field, but it is what it is. But
it happens.
Math is overrated, Mike.
Yes, it is. I was never a math person, so I was. That was not my cup of tea. But is there a special technique to cornhole, or is it kind of you're winging it and just hope for the best?
So, okay, I don't know that we're winging it necessarily, but there are definite strategies. So, what's been the coolest thing for us to learn as we've gotten better at the sport is that, like, I used to think you just every time try to get the bag in the hole, right?
Right.
It's not. It's more of a strategy game than that. So, like, actually, what's best? They say that very, very best thing is blocker, airmail, slide. Okay, so that means My first bag I throw in an ideal situation. This never happens, by the way. If you know me as a person or a player, this will never go down. But it would be to put your bag blocking the hole, right? So she now is stuck and constricted by my bag. Next one would be an airmail, which the definition of that is just it goes in the hole like a swish in basketball. Okay. Next one would be an airmail, like a swish in basketball. The final one would be a slide wherein I slide my bag and take that blocker bag in with it. That is the definition of the best round possible. Now, to make that play out properly is a different story.
And that's like bag, that's throw, that's a lot of things. But I will say, like, if you were to look at the very, very like basis of like what makes a good cornhole player, the first thing is just that flat spinning bag. Like that's the first thing you work on, is just trying to get a flat spinning bag, because you can control where it goes to do all those things that Whitney just mentioned.
Instead of like gripping it and like, clinching it and trying to throw it like a ball.
Or
I
say people
you gotta get more frisbee.
They hold it like this, like a pizza
pancake,
and I'm like, how do you control where it goes? Or so for me, it was the flip flop bag, right? So it kind of like flip flopped over itself, and that's how I threw for a long time.
And many people do, Michelle.
Yeah, and that's where most people start. And then it kind of like turned like almost vertical, so it was like a vertical bag. And then
it's like a ninja star.
Yeah, like a ninja star. And then eventually it worked itself, and it's really a flick of the wrist to go from the vertical to the flat. And
you just want to combine the two. Yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually it got flat. Once you get a flat spinning bag, now you have a lot more control as to what happens when you're throwing.
Yeah, because the biggest issue when people first start out is that lack of consistency.
Right.
And so the most you can do, or whatever you can do to try to, like Michelle used to take a step when she threw that, but that was causing a lack of consistency in where her bag ultimately ended up. So the most you can take out of those other variables and get consistent, now you have the physical components. There's an entirely different mental side of this game, which you will realize once
that's level 2. That's level 2 or level 5. I don't know.
Think about like Mario Brothers. Like now that's like world 3 or something.
Let's break it down for the listeners. The first step is try to get the bag on the board.
First step is to pick up a bag and try to throw it.
Yeah, try to get it to the board. Second step, we try to get it like in the middle of the board, right? Like in the lane of the hole. Right. Then you start working on the mechanics of trying to get the bag flat and spinning. And then you start working on other types of like, okay, let me get the mental game. Like kind of like how golf has a mental component. Like the best players in the world will still miss easy putts. How is that possible? It's kind of like that with cornhole.
Yep, the yips. They're a thing. So anyway, do you feel like a desire right now to go throw a bag, Mike? Because that's kind of our goal here.
No, I've always wanted to play, at least try it. I know we played just a few, messed around, just kind of tossing type of thing, and obviously not really having an idea of what we were just kind of. I forgot. All we did was whoever had the most, I think, in the hole or something. I don't remember how we worked it out. But I can guarantee 100% it was
like my mom.
Correct.
It's like my mom. She's just like, I just kind of put the boards a little distant apart, and then like we kind of just tried our best. And I was like, okay, that sounds fun, but that is not cornhole. Like there are standards of play that you have to do if you want to say that you played cornhole.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just like throwing things, which is cool if you want to do that. But let's call it what it is.
Well, more than likely we were throwing it.
Here's the deal. I'm just so shocked that there's not more cornhole in your area, like in backyard barbecues.
Yeah, that's an area where it's usually pretty prominent.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not here. Here it's forget the the major sports. Cornhole here, just you don't know many people that will do it. It's if you do, it's
not to like. What do you mean? Who will do it? You act like we're asking them to go to war.
I'm sorry, did you want to have fun, drink beer, and play some games? I mean, I don't know. Is that a big ask?
I'm all for beer. No, I should. I
You're like, I don't know
not
many people
do-
here who would do it. Like, what's to do? You just go out and play, guys. It's fun. I
You never know.
promise.
People are so hyped up on their technology, they may want to stay inside and.
Oh, well, that's
all
the
the games.
coolest part of this sport is it gets couples off their phones,
Kids,
engaging with one another,
everyone.
kids off their iPads and their devices, and it gets them outside in a family-friendly, very conducive way to healthy living.
It's a
I mean,
family.
we're
It's a
not getting
family event.
cardio. We're not getting cardio necessarily.
Hey, my Fitbit, let me tell you, has done the little thing that's like, you're in the fat burning. And I'm like, the hell I am. That's right.
Your Fitbit,
Here we go.
your Fitbit needs to reevaluate your
Or I'm just like that sedentary most often that's a big jump for it.
You
It's
are
like,
up
good
and
job.
moving, Michelle.
Good job for doing
Yay.
something. But like on league night, so
A
on
low
league
bar.
night,
It's a low bar.
I almost hit my 10,000 steps on league night. So that's a big, you know.
Well, Michelle runs a league, and that is a lot
nice.
of work. So I can imagine you're sweating and running around all day just for like the logistics and planning part of that alone. Yeah, for sure. I would never. Somebody couldn't pay me to run a league.
Oh,
Maybe they could pay me. I mean, everybody's got a number, but
yeah, I mean, you would totally do it for money. Let's not lie.
we kind of hijacked your podcast.
We did.
Yeah, you're perfectly fine. For both of you.
Tired.
Oh, trust me, I'm there as well. How do you both get involved? How did you start off with you, Michelle? How did you get involved with cornhole and came about your status to where you are now?
So like Whitney said, like I just started playing like because my husband played, and it was never something serious. It was like, oh, while we're waiting for food to cook, you might as well, you know, throw a bag at the hole. Like, why not? But I was always like, no, somebody else can play, or sometimes I play, or like, well, we need a fourth person. I'm like, fine. It was like whatever to me.
Now she punches people to get to the board.
Yeah, like, God, who wants to play? No, but I was horrible at it. Like, okay, maybe not horrible. I mean, I could hit the board and stuff, but it wasn't very fun. Like, it's not fun to do something that you're not very good at and are never progressing at. Like, that's not a recipe for like fun for me.
Failure, not fun.
Yeah, so I was just like, yeah, whatever. So then one day, as we were just playing our normal, like, okay, let's just play cornhole while we're hanging out and waiting for food to cook and stuff, my husband mentioned that I should take my step away, because some people step and throw and some people just plant their feet and throw. And he noticed that when I stepped, I looked down every time, like, why are you looking down to step? You know where the ground is. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just a natural thing when you take a step to look down. But he said, what happened is I would take my eye off the hole. So basically I would look at the hole and then take a step, look down and throw. And so I was missing the hole a lot. And so he's like, just get rid of your step and just stand there and throw the bag. And literally that tiny change made me get the bag in the hole like 70% more than I was before. And that's when sort of the light bulb went off, like, oh, maybe I'm not just bad at this. Maybe I just don't have the mechanics down. Like, it's not I suck at this problem. It's I have more to learn and I actually could be potentially good. And that's when it all shifted for me. So we started like playing. So I was getting a little more serious. I was better. I was beating boys, which is always fun for a girl to do. Yeah. And I started getting more confident, but still I was just kind of like, yeah, it's still just like a fun thing we do in the backyard. But then my husband was going to leagues like these tournaments sometimes, and I would go with and I would sit and watch. And then he bought these certain kinds of bags. They're called Vipers. And the first time,
the Vipers again.
The love affair that I have with my Vipers.
You listen to our podcast all
no joke.
Viper.
Because they are the converters. They converted me to a serious player because I picked up the Viper. My bag was flat. It was spinning. I was getting 2-3 in the hole every time I threw. And I was like, wow, I'm actually good. And then I played in my first tournament, like maybe 3 or 4 days after I got those Vipers, and I got like 3rd place. And I was like, okay, maybe this is
interesting, Mike, because I have had the opposite situation since this whole Viper situation. I started to realize like Michelle is like committed to this bag. And I think she could be very much better at the sport if she didn't like feel like she had to use this one bag to be good, right?
Right.
So then it translated to me, and I started to tell myself, I don't care what bag I throw, I can do this. And my game has fundamentally improved just from that mental tweaking. So
Yep.
that's where you can see
Wow.
that the mechanics, the equipment, and the mentality all can come together to create whether or not you're on or off that night.
Right.
You want to play now?
I'm up for
That's
it. Let's
what
do
I'm
it.
asking. I know. I wish we could play virtually. That we got to figure out some way to.
There
get
is
that
a way
done.
with like the ghost apps and things like that to play virtually, but
No, it's just not as fun.
that's not, it's not the same.
I want to be like you know how you they have the virtual reality stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to be standing next to you when I put that thing on and
Yeah.
throwing bags.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
get
like
it.
this should be able to be done.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm sure you can give it
Stay
to somebody
tuned.
to get
Yeah,
around with it.
yeah. We'll
I
work
think
on
they
that.
are. They're making, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, they're making a cornhole video game. I'm pretty sure that's in the works. So we're getting
VR
closer.
style. VR.
Yeah, I
style?
don't know if it's VR style, but it's in the works.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Yeah. And they're
In person-
also,
I mean, in person would be better, but hey.
yeah, and there's also going to be like, I asked about like, is there going to be like fantasy? Because I love fantasy football. Is there going to be fantasy cornhole? And they
I was
said
like,
it's
what kind of fantasy do you want in your
different
cornhole?
different conversation. But for the sake of this conversation, I love fantasy football, and there will be, I think, some sort of
Oh,
like version
draft,
of that.
like a fantasy draft. Okay, now I got you. I was like, whoa, Michelle.
But
coming in
how
hot.
cool
Like,
would it be?
podcast.
How cool would it be to be playing fantasy cornhole and you're picking players that are like the players that we're interviewing?
Oh, I would
and
love
stuff?
that.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question. Again, we're gonna have to bring this up on our own podcast, but see, look what you're doing content-wise, Mike.
Hey,
My husband said, I think it'd be more fun if there was like regional teams of pros. So like the same way you root for, like he roots for the SEC versus the, ACC or whatever. Like then if your guy's out, you still are invested
In the
in the
division.
outcome, right? Well,
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
and that was, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually going to ask that. Is there, first of all, if there is, the professional league, is there regional teams or sites or stuff to where people can, if, the listener out there say, I'm interested. To your knowledge, is there any regional sites that they can check out, or what's the best source for them to
Scoreholio, right?
give it a try?
Well, so for tournaments, so for like tournaments, you just want to download the app Scoreholio. And
But
then
that's not just tournaments, because I can find where my blind draws are through that.
no, I'm sorry.
locally.
I just meant like non-pro. So for
Okay.
non-pro events, you go to Scoreholio and it'll take your location in. And what's cool about that is when you go, like when I go travel somewhere else, I can go look up where the tournaments are and join someone else's league for that night. And then
Nice.
if you have hopes of being a pro, then you want to look up the ACL events.
If you have hopes of being a pro, you don't need to be listening to Michelle and I. I'll tell
That's
you
not
that.
true. That's not true because we have, first of all, we're very entertaining. Let's be honest.
For sure. Some of the pros have told us that they rather listen to our podcast than any of
And
the
we
other
bring
ones
on
out
the
there.
pros. We bring on the pros. So it's not like it's like we do like to help beginner
Yes,
players,
okay.
but we also bring on pros to give actual tips.
That was
from
a
pros.
self-defeating statement, Michelle. I
Yes,
apologize.
how dare you downplay our podcast?
I'm sorry.
But yeah, if you want to be a pro, there are like regional events and things like that you play and you have to qualify. And what's cool, well, I don't know if it's cool, but what's different maybe is the way they do it is depending on where you are. I think there's it's like 200 and something pros.
240.
Thank you. 240 pros are allowed at one time. And so like whatever percentage of the lower bracket pros have to keep fighting for their spot. So if you want to become a pro, you're playing against those lower level of the 240, and it's kind of like when you're defending the title or the champion, and you're trying to take one of their spots, and they're defending their spot.
And they have major national competitions. They also have these pro shootouts that are a little bit more just for hype and fun and fame versus actually getting you higher up in that ACL status. The national competitions are the ones that are really going to earn them, first of all, dollars, which is hard to come by as a professional in cornhole right now. But we think that will
That'll
change
change.
soon.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not making Tiger Woods money, just to be honest, like
Right,
when they
right.
win something, but hopefully, as the sport grows, there will be more sponsorship opportunities, and the payouts will be bigger, which will promote it as a sport in general, broadcast wise.
We want these like right now, the pros all have to have jobs, and we
but
really
yeah, they
hope
work full time, and
they work
have
full time, and we really hope to see that change to where this can be their full-time job. And we also, one of the things Whitney and I really want to help with is creating fan bases for these pros who they're invested in their success and invested in who they are as people, in addition to players.
Excellent point.
And just grow the sport in that way too, where you're like, oh, I want to go see Kaylee Hunter play because I thought that was really cool when I heard about her like childhood or her life or who she is.
Right. So right now,
like a lot of other sports.
Yeah, right now they are showcasing the megastars pro wise in the broadcast, but only for their ability to get the bag in the hole, right? It's very hard to be a loyal fan of anyone or anything if you're not invested on some kind of deeper level and more about the person outside of the sport.
Right.
So our goal with the girl pros is to showcase them in coming months as just people. Like, think about 30 for 30 on ESPN, that kind of thing, right? So I think if we can achieve that, so people see them as these girls who are killing it and keeping up with the boys within a sport that is now professional in level, I think they're going to get, everybody loves an underdog. Everybody loves, somebody that they can root for. And it's very hard to do that if, if you don't know anything about them other than the fact that they're good at the sport. So that's where we're going. I also want to get better myself, but so far, nada.
That's not true. You have improved.
I have. My mentality is doing wonders.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ACL, correct?
There's ACL, American Cornhole League, and there's ACO, American Cornhole Organization. Those are the two top.
We are probably more affiliated, or our podcast guests tend to be
they're all
more
ACL
affiliated.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to misinterpret the league.
No, thanks for asking. Not many people do.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ACL, is it mainly based, like when the Major League Lacrosse was big and so on and so forth, there's always based, let's say, East Coast type of thing. Is the ACL predominantly focused in one region of the country, or is it kind of spread out, or is it trying to, let's just say, like a wildfire, go east to west type of a league?
They're spreading out. Yeah, they're spreading out. I think that it was like heavy in the South, but
also like in the Northeast, like Cleveland.
Yeah,
it's huge.
But I'm seeing like there's a pro shootout in San Diego. I think that they're trying to
Iowa, Rock Hill. I just went to Erie, Pennsylvania. Yeah, they are definitely branching.
I don't know. I feel like they don't visit the West Coast as often as other regions.
They need to get more out west. They need to just get better venues is the biggest thing I could.
Yeah, we want to go to Hawaii and like
nobody's trying to go to Iowa. And there's no offense, Iowa, but
it's not on my list of
not
places
my
I have to
vacation
visit.
destination of choice.
Yeah, there's not much up there. I mean, let's be honest. We wouldn't pass Hawaii for Iowa. I mean,
right?
Exactly.
No offense to
right, or like Nashville's or Charleston, or we're gonna go out west, like even like Lake Tahoe. Let's go and ski.
Hey, I could drive there. That would be great.
I mean, let's just pick venues that are like a little. Think about, you could start charging us for tickets, entry.
Yeah. Because
if
we actually
you
want
were
to be there.
somewhere that I actually wanted to be. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys, but that's just my opinion. For right now, we'll keep traveling to Erie and Iowa until they figure it out.
Are you guys? You never know. Is it big up in the North Dakota areas? Because Lord forbid, there ain't nothing up in that area.
Well, so I'm trying to think of. We have a team of consultants for Girls Throw 2, and they are regionally diversified purposefully. I don't think we have anybody in Dakotas, right?
We don't.
We have Wyoming. We have Colorado, Washington, California. We have Arkansas. I live in Maryland, New Hampshire. We have anything like New York, Pennsylvania? I feel like we should. Maybe we'll look into that. And then I would really like to expand our team to that east southern realm, because cornhole has such potential in tailgates,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And
yes.
so college football tends to be much bigger within the
Yep.
south and southeast, especially.
Yeah.
So we'll see I don't know. What are you, Big 10, Mike?
Big 12.
Big 12. Is that what they are now? See,
Big 12,
I've
and
been out
even
of
though
it for a
technically it
couple of
really
years.
should be the Big 10, because there's only 10 teams in the Big 12, but
Yeah. Has it always been the Big 12? Or do I just call it the Big 10 because that's logical?
way back in the day it was used to technically, logically, you're correct. It's actually the Big 10 because there's 10 schools in the Big 12.
Where's the
Way
12
back
come
in the
from?
day was the Big 8. So
Well, why 12?
Nebraska and Missouri,
They just got added in.
Texas A&M got kicked out, or they
Oh,
moved to other.
you really got to fight for your spot
moved-
there. And
Just say kicked out, but
I
they
think you meant
departed to
kicked
other
out.
conference.
Well, it's good to know.
Nebraska got kicked out. I'll put it that
Very similar. We're going to relate that analogy wise to like when those pros are at
Yeah,
the
it's
bottom
ACL.
of that 240,
That's right.
they're going to have to fight each other to
Yeah.
stay within pro status,
Right.
much like
Or
this
you're gonna
big
get
8,
kicked out.
10, 12, whatever y'all want to call it. You're not guaranteed a spot next year, apparently.
No,
Very
they moved on to bigger, better things. So, but no, that's the analogy of the Big 10, which I call it the Big 10 because it's only 10 teams. But
As it should be called. Thank
exactly right.
you. Okay. Mike,
I
what's
agree.
your favorite sport? I'm going to turn the tables. We now interview you.
You're good. My biggest one is football. That's my go-to.
Professional or college?
More college than professional, but professional is starting to slowly catch up.
And
I
your
love
team?
professional.
Professional, Denver, college, the University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm a Chargers girl,
when we
and I'm married. I'm a Chargers fan, married to a Raiders fan, so you understand my struggle.
That sucks.
I'm just going to say, fly, Eagles, fly. On the
I
road
like
to
Eagles.
victory. Don't make me sing it all, guys.
I do
Because
like
I
the Eagles.
will.
There's one team in the pros I cannot stand, and that is the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, same.
Oh, now we're talking though. See?
No.
I
Eagles
think
fan,
there's
Cowboys hater.
no teams that I hate more than the Patriots and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Patriots
Cowboys.
need to get the hell out of Dodge. Like, okay. Like nobody wants to root for you after you've done this much shit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like,
So true.
been there, done that, go home.
Yeah.
Get out.
Now, Dallas is a team that if I would love to see lose, that's the team I would love to see every year go 0-16.
Well,
Sure.
now
Sure.
we can be friends.
Yeah, we're all
Even
on the
it-
same page on the who we don't like, at least.
Yeah. Hater power.
All you Dallas Cowboys listeners, well,
Yeah. Oh, they're not.
We
gonna
like
this
you
at
as
all.
people. We like you as people. We just don't
It's
like
not
your
the
stupid
organization.
Well, we
team.
don't know yet. We got to test it out.
No, I will never like the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just gonna throw it out.
Oh, I meant the people. The people.
Oh, the
fans.
people. No,
Yeah.
I think the people who are their fans are probably wonderful. So no hate there, I promise. But never gonna root for the Cowboys.
no.
Don't make me sing the fight song, Mike. Don't make me
The
do
floor is
it.
yours on that one if you do.
No, moving on. Moving on.
But
We actually are on another podcast tomorrow night, and it's a Philly sports program. So I have a feeling my
Yeah,
love for the Eagles might come into play a little bit more.
just a
on
tad
that
bit.
one might be a little more well received than I feel like my fandom is right now. Sorry, we'll see.
hey, I've been, I got some hate tweets, so it's all good.
Oh, you're doing things right then.
Yep. If you don't have haters, then you're not important.
No, you're not. You're just doing it incorrectly. But when it comes to obviously outside of cornhole, Whitney, what do you like to do outside of cornhole?
This is funny because we asked the same question to the people who come on our podcast.
And they say, play cornhole.
right.
That's how they answer.
And I never want to be the girl who's like, when I'm not playing cornhole, what are you doing? Playing cornhole.
Playing cornhole.
No, I actually I don't have any extreme hobbies currently other than like keeping my children alive is a
Mhm.
really good
Yeah.
one. Keeping my marriage going is wonderful. But like as far as actual hobbies, if I have free time, that's what I'm doing,
Very nice.
playing cornhole. What about you, Michelle? What are your cool hobbies?
Yeah, I love music, so I play guitar and I sing. I like to
See,
write
she's
music.
so much cooler than me.
No, it's those are like my independent hobbies, right? That's what I do by myself. You know,
I don't have any of those.
well, you have 3 kids. I have 1, so that's already giving me a lot more time than you.
Thank you. That makes me feel
Mhm.
better.
Yeah, so I love that, and I just love anything that I can create. So creating music.
She raps, by the way. Can
Oh
I
my
just
God.
Really?
she's a rapper.
What do you mean, really? I look like a rapper, don't I? For sure.
No,
No,
Michelle.
no, no.
If somebody made me bet $100, is Michelle a rapper or not, after first like zooming with you, I would have been like, no.
Yeah, I don't probably scream. I love hip hop music. We have music going all the time. But yeah, so pretty much like if I'm by myself, I love learning. I love self-growth, self-help. I love that whole industry. My other business is helping women with binge eating and weight loss and those kinds of topics. And I'm getting my PhD. So like, I love just the growth of like learning and expanding my mind. If I'm by myself, I love music. And then if I'm not by myself, I'm playing cornhole.
And she loves putting out fires that her co-founder creates.
Do I love doing that, or do I just love you?
No, but you're good.
Very different.
You're good at it.
I love entrepreneur. I love being an entrepreneur.
She loves, keeping us afloat.
Yeah.
Very nice. So what you're telling me is one day I'll be seeing you both on ESPN then?
Yes.
Maybe
That's
on the
goal.
broadcast.
Maybe.
Oh, not as pros. No.
No, as like content covering.
Yes,
exactly.
We plan to be involved in
you will
that
never
heavily.
see us on that pro broadcast.
Court,
if that's what you're
Here's the
asking.
thing, like Whitney's at least played a competitive sport. I've never played competitive sports. I don't have that like drive to be a competitive player in the pro circuit. I love just beating the boys around the neighborhood who are like,
well, we both like to compete at a level elevated more than backyard play.
No, but in the same way that I want to beat someone,
don't go far beyond that.
Like, let me put it this way: my competitiveness is for cornhole is equal to me wanting to win at like Uno or Yahtzee. Like, of course, I want to win, right? But I'm not trying to like compete.
You don't want to become a pro Yahtzee
player, exactly.
Right, exactly.
As much as I love Yahtzee.
God, if that was a thing, I might consider it.
It's like not that much strategy involved. So yeah,
it's like poker. I mean, I would be a pro poker player.
I do love poker. I love Texas Hold'em. That's true.
Right.
If
there a pro Uno player, I would sign up tomorrow.
Sold.
Yep. If the ACL expands across the country, what's one city that you would love to flat out see it hit the market in?
California is like LA, like that area. I'm dying. I've been all over the world.
That's where I'm from. I don't need to go back.
I know, but I've been all over the world, and the only place in our country that I've never been that I'm dying to go is like that California and Hawaii.
I want to go anywhere on the coast. Like, I used to live in Orange County, Huntington Beach, and my husband moved me here to Northern California, and I'm like 4 hours from the coast. And every day I just dream about being back to the beach. So put me on any beach and I'm fine.
Yeah. I would go Charleston, South Carolina. That's where I went to college.
Sounds great.
If you find a way to make money and get me back there, I'm there tomorrow. That's a great question, Mike. I never would have thought to ask that one.
I was always, curious because, a lot of people will always, sit there, I want to live in Oklahoma City. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's cool too, but, not much here to do, but hey, go for it. But
yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike, I'm sorry, that was never going to be my answer.
Well, I was going to say, if you would, I'd be like,
yeah. If we're ever up that way, though, we'll hit you up for sure.
I just do that, I'm sure.
I'm not going to push for it to get onto the docket for next season.
Yeah, just put us, in the far, at least, bottom 100, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah,
Makes
no,
sense.
I think I mean, there is definitely a big presence within the ACL around your general location, maybe not
I think
Oklahoma
so
City
too.
specifically.
Hey, Dallas, I'll give Dallas credit on that one. If Dallas comes down, if the ACL goes to Dallas, I'll make a trip down there.
Well, we're going to Austin later this month. So
We, meaning her, I have not decided if I'm going to go or
Okay.
not. It's a
I hope she does.
logistical situation, but Michelle is 100% going to Austin. I had to go to, there's my daughter in the same camo. I'm sorry. Sorry
It's
for
okay.
the distraction,
That's
guys.
okay. I had to go and yell at my family to stop talking so loud in the middle of our podcast.
Well,
So
why are my family looking like they're all going hunting all of a sudden in my background? And then there's the little Toto dog from like Wizard of Oz.
This is our world.
Anyway, Henley, could you not? Thanks. Sorry, guys. Anyway, we'll have to cut that. Unless this is live, in which case I'm screwed.
No, you're good.
Anyway, we were talking about location and stuff. Yes, so Austin, she is gonna go. But I had to go to Erie by myself because Michelle couldn't make it to join me there. It could happen that Michelle's gonna be in Austin by herself, but anybody near Austin should go. What are the dates of that?
25th, 6th.
Oh, you're gonna say what month?
Oh, June, this month. I said this month. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. So June 25th, 6th, and 7th. So June 25th is my birthday. So yeah, exciting way to spend my birthday. Well, it will be fun if I was playing cornhole. So I'm happy with that.
Well, if I don't go, we got to get your husband to go with you. You can't be all by yourself.
No, he's going. But the problem is, who's going to play with him if I don't? That's why it's like, if you don't go, I don't know how to do both.
You got to play. That's what I had to do last time in Erie.
Okay, well, there you go. I'll be playing then, apparently, with my husband.
Yes, you will. And Nicole will get our other team member, who is girlfriend of a pro who will be playing. She will get our content.
Perfect.
We're just figuring out our schedule.
We're just gonna work out logistics live on your podcast, so I hope you don't mind.
No, you're perfect. I've had a whole lot worse, so that no. This beats out the.
This is what this is for, right?
Okay, scale of like excellent. Scale of like 10 being excellent and 0 being total fail. Where are we falling, Mike?
Actually 10, because I had, like going into the podcast, I don't know much about cornhole. So I'm like, if they start quizzing me on like, hey, what's your technique? I'm like, I really don't know.
Oh, Whitney just quizzed you on math, but that's
I
cool.
did. I kind of threw out. But did you see how like supportive I was in trying to help you get to the answer?
Yeah.
No, it was phenomenal.
That is the point of Girls Throw 2. Let's just wrap it up with that.
Yeah.
That statement is that Girls Throw 2, we are not experts. If you've listened to us at all during this podcast, you can probably pick up on that. We are girls who really want to increase female, participation within the sport. We are girls who think that there should be a forum in which there's no such thing as a stupid question, and you shouldn't feel silly for asking him, like, as you're getting started.
Yeah.
We want to hold your hand and help you get into the sport because we feel like once you do, you're going to love it. And
connecting those women, because what happens is automatically as a female in the sport, when you go to a tournament or a switch or a blind draw, when a male gets you as their partner, they're disappointed before you've even touched a bag. Like, you could be phenomenal. If they don't know you, they're like, oh crap. Yeah.
I got the girl.
I got the girl as my partner. And that sucks, but it's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can connect women and say, and then at least if you're going to feel that way no matter what, but if you have another female there, you're like, yeah,
it's not you.
Yeah. You're all, screw it. I don't care.
It's happening to everyone.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, screw you. I have more confidence going in. And
it's like, let's go. Let's get to the board. Let's get to the board. We were on another podcast. They asked, like, do you like crap? Do you shit talk? Do you whatever? And I'm like, no, I just get the bag in the hole. Like,
let the score do the talking.
Right.
Exactly. I don't need to say anything.
Sometimes my score does talking, and it's not really what I wanted to say, but it's okay because I have fun.
Well, also the way you throw your bag. So like, I feel like because I have a flat spinning bag, they already know
they take you more serious.
It's an elevated play. Yeah.
But here we come into lingo. A lot of women get very intimidated when they come into the sport, or not even women, just beginners. They'll hear words like flat bag, switch holio, blind draw. They don't know what that is. And there's really not a lot of places where you feel safe asking that, those kind of lower level questions.
Until now, Girls Throw
Until
2
now.
Facebook forum.
Yep.
Go there.
Girlsthrow2.com. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
We
And
will handhold you through the process.
male or female, we are there to help you figure it out. Also, it has become from a female end quite the sisterhood. Like
Yeah.
people are meeting up all over the country now because they met within our forum. And that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And,
I learned a
and
lot.
so we wrap up our podcast that we just completely hijacked.
You're perfectly fine. I truly enjoyed it.
Mike, you can't have people who have a podcast as guests on a podcast because this is what happened.
See, that was a fun part because I took over and you kind of took over. So it was a 50-50
synergy. There was
It was a give and take. It was a give and take.
Exactly. My final question, and we're wrapping what we know of this is, how can I help you ladies out at my end of the bargain and get the name out there on Twitter, and which I'm mainly on, but also Facebook as well.
That is awesome. Well, any females, males, beginners, anybody even considering or wondering about what cornhole is, we highly encourage you to check us out at our website, girlsthrow2.com, or get on Facebook and go to what's called the Girls Throw 2 forum. You do not have to be a girl, I promise. We have lots of men in there. Asking questions, commenting, posting things all the time. But it really is a safe place for people trying to get into the sport.
Think about it as in like the Girls Throw 2 because Whitney and I are girls. And what happens naturally as a women-led company is it just has a different energy behind it. So it's not that we only market or create things for women. It's that we are women and we are the founders and owners of the company. So it's just going to have a different feel and goal and mission because we're women, but men and women are all welcome. We want everybody, all genders, whatever you want to define 100%. Yourself as, are all welcome. It's a female-led company.
And piggybacking off of that brilliant statement that Michelle just did was another thing you could check us out is anywhere you listen to a podcast, you'll hear Girls Throw 2. And we began thinking like we could only have female guests, female pros and whatnot. And what we are starting to realize is that it's not about the gender of the guests we have on. It's more about the questions and the nature of those questions that we ask, right? So if we have a guy on, we're not going to ask the same questions that all the other boy podcasts ask, which might be like, how do you hold your bag? Very logistical. Right. We're going to ask, are you married?
What do you do? Yeah.
What does your wife do when you go out and play all these weekends? You know what I mean? Like just more interesting things that women might be asking in their head as they listen to these kind of interviews.
Right.
We try to get on top of that and ask those same questions.
Which is just naturally how we think.
Yeah, it's no work.
No, rightfully so.
We have lots of boys say, I never would have thought to ask that. And I was like, really? How would you not have? I was like so curious about that.
Exactly.
It's just different. Men are from Mars.
Women from Venus.
Women are just superheroes.
Or that.
Yeah, thanks.
On that note, it's been a pleasure having you, Michelle, and you, Whitney, on the.
Has it though? Has it really?
So yes.
Okay, you are a kind man, Mike.
And just so you know, you are the first two women that actually came on the show. So
that's crazy. I loved everything about that. That's we are.
So we'll say Mike.
Trailblazing our way into.
Well, you ladies enjoy the rest of your evening.
This is not a shot, by the way. This is just like a live and healthy wellness.
Nobody thought that was a shot. What kind of
I
shot
don't even know if people
that?
can see us, but I just, in case my mom's watching or something, I just want to be clear. Sorry. It's a nightmare. I'm so sorry, Mike.
You're perfectly fine.
It's been a very long week.
Amen to that one. I agree.
And for you too. And we hope you get everything up and running. I hope you get the sickest upgrade in vehicles.
Me too.
You and me both, because when you're scared to drive for your own work, it's pretty serious.
No bueno.
It's a problem.
Yeah, get these people to just give you what you deserve, Mike. You need us to call him?
Yeah, I'll hook him
Okay.
up. I will
Yeah,
too.
We'll talk about
Yeah, I
that
get
when we get off air.
So we met this guy named Mike, and let me tell you.
If you don't give him the car he deserves.
We've known him for less than 24 hours, but
But we get what we want. So
right.
we want this. Sleep with one eye open, boss man.
On that note, no, it's been fun. I
hope so.
appreciate your time, and you're always welcome back on the show. Even if we
Okay.
don't talk nothing, we just mess around. That's all good.
That's
Sounds
really
good to
great
me.
news because I thought you would never talk to us again. All right. Thanks, you guys, so much. Girlsthrow2.com. Don't forget us. If you have any interest in the sport, check us out.
There you have it. You've been listening to the A-Red Attack podcast. We will be back after this.